I'm over 50 now. I'm married. He has two grown sons. My wife and I have been living under the same roof for many years, although it's hard to call us a couple anymore. We just live in different parts of the house. The connection between us was severed a long time ago. When I was younger, I made my mistakes. It hurt her, but she forgave me. Later, however, she found someone else, and the cracks in our relationship deepened. Despite all this, we raised our boys together, but it just didn't work out for us. About a year ago, I met a woman on the internet. She is a widow, 10 years younger than me. We started chatting, and it didn't take long to realize how much we had in common. We both adore animals, deeply care about people, and are looking for love. I had the feeling that I had found my soulmate. And, to be honest, although she is not a beauty by the standards of society, and yes, the photos she posted were genuine, her inner qualities completely hooked me. She has become more than just a companion for me. It's been a long time since I've had a relationship like this. As for intimacy, I haven't really been interested in anyone for a long time. She also had her own story. She admitted to me that she had a heart friend, a man who was out of work, the best friend of her late husband. He came around now and then, offering her some comfort. In the early days, I knew she had feelings for someone else. But as I got to know her better, I realized things weren't as simple in her life as they might have seemed. So I decided to step up, not just emotionally, but financially, too. I'm a mechanic by trade, and I do okay for myself. But Olivia, after her husband's passing, found herself in a really tough spot. She was scraping by, taking on any dirty, difficult job she could just to survive. She told me all this herself. I didn't want her to have to live like that. So, I offered to help, and I think that's when I really won her over. Later, Olivia messaged me to say she'd ended things with her sketchy boyfriend. 6 months had passed since we first started talking, and I began to get the idea that it was time to meet her in person. The only problem: we lived in different cities, thousands of kilometers apart. I was upfront with her about it, and at first, she didn't really believe me. She thought I was just another guy with empty promises. But when I gave her the exact date I'd be arriving, she was genuinely surprised, in a good way. She told me she'd been looking forward to the day we'd meet. By that point, we'd shared so much of ourselves, our hopes, and our dreams, so it felt like the right moment. I was getting ready for this meeting like I was a teenager about to confess his feelings for the first time. And honestly, that's exactly how I felt. Like I'd known Olivia forever, like we were kindred spirits, and that only a long, happy life together lay ahead of us. The journey to see her was long, but I made sure to bring gifts, wanting to show her just how much she meant to me. And then the long-awaited moment came. She met me at the train station, just as she looked in the photos, smiling, warm, and full of kindness. We embraced, kissed, and for a moment, it felt like everything I'd been waiting for had just fallen into place. Our first night together was amazing. Honestly, I felt young again, like I was falling in love for the first time, and I could tell she was feeling the same way. Olivia turned out to be a fantastic host, always trying to surprise me with something. I, on the other hand, decided to buy her some new clothes, hoping to make her feel special too. To be honest, I ended up spending quite a bit of money in the end. We spent a few weeks together, and it felt like a honeymoon. I didn't just fall for her, I fell for her pets too. Her dog became my little buddy. We played and went for walks together, like I was her second owner. Everything seemed perfect, except for one thing. My vacation was coming to an end, and we'd have to part ways. There were only a couple of days left before I had to leave. One morning, Olivia went out for a walk with her dog, and apparently left her phone behind on the kitchen table while I was finishing up my coffee and sandwich. That's when I saw the message pop up on her screen. It was from someone named Ezra, and it said, "So, how's our wallet? Has he already left?" And there were a couple of smiley faces at the end. When she got back, I didn't waste any time. I grabbed the phone from the doorway and demanded an explanation. That's when she admitted that, all along, she had been keeping up with her so-called heart friend and had no intention of ending things with him. In fact, she was planning to break things off with me. But I, the fool, had mentioned money, and she decided to keep me around. Basically, she'd been using me. It hit me like a punch in the gut. I was a 50-year-old man, and I felt like a clueless teenager. I didn't waste a minute. I headed straight for the airport, got drunk, and spent the night in the waiting room. The next morning, I changed my ticket, got on a flight, and headed home. My wife and kids were waiting for me. Before long, my wife and I reconciled, and our sons were happy to see us back together. As for Olivia, well, she messaged me afterward, swearing up and down that everything wasn't what I thought. She said she'd become attached to me, even fallen in love. She told me she was done with her ex for good. But by then, I didn't believe a word of it anymore.